Ti ricordi qua questa cosa? Oppure...
Hey, Vincenzo, do you remember this one? This one here? Do you remember this stage? Yes, I remember this one well. They're mostly very memorable moments. Well, I was not expecting to win against Chavez, but it was an emotional experience that day. It was very difficult, and even to be cut off up to the very final of the race, so the stage was full of surprises. All right, but you've hoped to become the leader, and you were left out. There's a photo from a book that you have. Could you show it to me? How old were you then? I'm 10 years old here, more or less. These were the training wheels my father left, and I attached them to my BMX. Do these things work on their own? He put a strap that would connect the central training wheel to the one in front. So, while I pushed down on the pedals, I would remain balanced on my bicycle. But my bicycle was too small to go anywhere with its training wheels. My father did the wheels while I watched him. Your father was a Sicilian champion. Do you remember when it was? During 1996, 92, I don't recall. Long-distance rider or climber? Oh yes, we go up a hill when he's having fun. He's doing well. He goes anywhere he wants and wherever the wind takes him, a bit everywhere. Is it true that your father ruined your bicycle? Oh no, he didn't break it. He dismantled it. Try to remember instead when he gave that to you. How did you feel? What did you do? Well, that was definitely when he dismantled it. That was the worst thing that ever happened. But there were a lot of surprises as well, especially when I was coming back from school. He would always play jokes with me. He says, "But today is Saturday. Surely you'd do it again tomorrow with your bike." No, you can't. Try to take a break. You'll be cycling tomorrow with little rounds, as if you're not going to be back home. Let's do a little walk. Let's go to Lake Ganziri as usual. We go there, and as usual, we go back home. I said, "No, I don't want to go." And my father, "All right, if you don't want to go training, let's go down the cellar, because I want to do something there and you're going to help me." I went there and switched on the lights, hoping to find a couple of new training wheels. Okay, so then he decided to go out. When did you realize that you were strong? It's not something that you realize. During my first year of cycling, I got a lot of decent results, many second places and just one victory. And then every year that passes by, I was able to win some more competitions, getting more motivated to fight for success. It's not that you become strong or understand that you're strong. It's something that you have, that thing of fighting every day. As I was saying, this desire of yours to fight, which is so typical of you, did it make you decide to go to Tuscany? How did it go at this stage?
Dalla mia regione, dalla Sicilia, perché c'è stato un momento che
Well, there were a lot of reasons for me to move from my region in Sicily because it was a time, in layman's terms, Sicily could no longer provide the necessities of a cyclist. Therefore, the moment I got into that stage, from being a junior to a professional, it gives an estimate, say for example among 50 competitions. We went up to 10th place, which makes sense that there's nothing more to do there for a bigger activity. Therefore, the right choice was to move to a region such as Tuscany, where cycling is part of everybody's life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Il ciclismo lo si vive 24 ore su 24.
Do you remember the reason behind the comradeship at Team Mastromarco?
No, sono andato con la mia squadra per correre 2-3 gare su in Toscana.
It definitely ended there with, no, I went there with my team to run for 2 to 3 competitions in Tuscany, which was like a test for us. And immediately after the race, we won. They were all highly praised, especially with the team that I've accepted as my own, which was Mastromarco. We went like crazy cyclists, and then we joined another competition, and then another. We spent our days there for the entire summer, and we've intensely travelled back and forth during the new year. It was then that I moved to that place permanently. I've heard that it wasn't easy during the first months for Team Mastromarco. You were having difficulty then, a bit of homesickness. But not that much, especially at the beginning of the race period. The part that had been difficult was from November till January, February because there were only 2 of us and we were sharing everything, and it was a bit difficult since you live far away from your family at that time. There were no races to serve as distraction, and there was neither a mental commitment to try to find something entertaining.
Era ferma, quindi non c'era neanche quell'impegno mentale da doversi trovare quello svago mentale, ecco.
All right, there was this great leap from Mastromarco to Paris. What do you remember of that day? While already at the Tour de France's podium, you already had an idea where you'd be. Well, basically, the first time I went up to Paris's podium was when Wiggins won and I'd finished third. I was very emotional, and I said to myself there, I was at the lowest tier, the third one. I want to get back to the first tier, the highest step. Hence, when I succeeded, that was a very satisfying moment for me. I've asked you before what the surrounding Tour de France was like, because the television is always, inspiring, the lights, the tricoloured arrows. You see a lot of people there, and behind you, you see the Arc de Triomphe. This is a really emotional avenue because it's historical. The world podium, would you agree? It's one of the most beautiful podiums of the world, but very, not people-friendly, because the people only stay along the borders. These two long rows of crowds is a lot like an arena. You're like taken aback, that's what I remember. Let's just say I've experienced other podiums. Madrid isn't that bad, right? Madrid isn't that bad, but that tour, Turin's, wasn't that much compared to that of Brescia, where the crowd really is in the middle of the road. And then there's the throne. Yes, exactly, that is true. Every year has seen some changes. It's not always the same. One more thing. These nightly tours, this fleeting curiosity, how do you go back? Going back, as I go back safely, which I do well, puts on a lot of effort. I believe in arriving at the best possible condition and battling with the challenges day after day, since basically it's a competition filled with unexpected setbacks. It requires a lot of tactics. In fact, tactics and team help a lot, but it's a competition which is very difficult to engage with. That's about it. Have you ever gone on a stage reconnaissance, for example on the famous cobblestone stage? Yes, we've done that stage, the cobblestone stage, as it was the most difficult one of the entire tour. It was one of those that can really change the outcome of the tour. It was good getting there and executing the idea which we had in mind for the Tour de France.
Era bene andare lì e farsi un'idea di quello che troveremo poi al Tour de France.
And with the rest of the route, there is this 65-kilometre stage. What was your impression on this detail? Was it spectacular, especially for a cyclist? 65 kilometres, you need to have an understanding how you want to tackle it. It can be a breathless stage, or you might explode after racing half of it because there are 3 long climbs, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember well the names, but there are 3 consecutive climbs, and it's something new. There had been a much shorter stage than this one.
E quindi è una novità. Non è mai stata fatta in passato una tappa così corta, penso.
Final question. I see that this is an interesting book, The Fifth Stage. Is it new?
Questo è nuovo, è appena uscito questa settimana.
This new book has just been released this week, written by Marco Pastanesi, an Italian journalist who worked with numerous well-known publications like the Corriere dello Sport, based on his stories and stories of other cyclists. The fifth stage of the Tour de France is where most of the winners are brought together. Where they've won. But it's more of where everything's been grouped. More like a series of heritages of the Tour de France.
Una serie ipoteca nel Tour de France.